Hey beauty friends, it's me, it's Meredith Roddy from Beadalon. Welcome to my takeover of the Jesse James Beads Facebook Live. Let me just double check. I'm going to make sure I'm in the right place by checking over here to make sure that it's me and I'm on Jesse James. It is. Okay, perfect. I'm so used to doing it the other way and being over on the Beadalon channel. So looks like everything worked out. So it's Earth Day. It's a celebration. I am so excited and honored to have been asked by Sarah to come on over and do a takeover on the Jesse James Beads Facebook page for Facebook Live. Now, I watched Sarah's unboxing of the 4 elemental mixes that Jesse James Beads put together for the Earth Day celebration week of course, Earth, Air, Fire, and Water. And when she showed all of the beads from the mixes, she said that the air mix was her favorite. And the air mix too is my favorite. We are both fellow Libras. And apparently the air mix is the one that that corresponds with our sign. I'm not so into all of the astrology of it all, but this mix definitely speaks to me. So I don't know if that's because of Jesse James, because of Sarah, because it's the air mix, but I had a lot of fun playing around with the beads, and I hope that you enjoy seeing what I have made with the beads as well. So I'm actually going to very quickly share this, if I can, over on to the Jewelry Making with Beadalon group. You know what? I'm gonna have to ask Sarah if she'll do that for me. But we have a nice group here. Hello, everyone. I see some familiar names and some new names. So I'm gonna go ahead and introduce myself while we're all bopping along here. I am Meredith Roddy, and I am the product marketing manager at Beadalon. I also do a lot of the content creation. So you can catch me on my Facebook Live every Thursday. Today's Thursday. I'm usually on at 2 o'clock. Susan, you are such a good friend. Thank you so much for being here with me. I really, really appreciate it. So for those of you who know me and know of Beadalon and our wonderful partnership with Jesse James Beads, you know that we have been doing a lot of designing under this group, the Mojo group. And hopefully the FaceTime that is coming in for my son is not messing up my broadcast. I don't think that it did. So it's 6 companies. It's Beadalon, of course, and Jesse James Beads, Dakota Stones, Impress Art, Tiara Cast, and Leathercord USA. And we have been working together, these 6 companies, to do a lot of designing and a lot of designing with all of our products. And I've kind of taken that idea and then some of the different designs that I have been playing around with as part of all of my designing that I do for Beadalon for the projects that we are going to be talking about today. I kind of toyed around with different ways that I was going to present how we're going to do our Facebook Live today. But I think just right out of the gate, I would love to know, first of all, who's ordered these mixes. I know that when Sarah unveiled them on Monday, there was so much excitement in the chat. Unfortunately, I had to watch on the replay. I didn't get a chance to check it out live, but a lot of people were super excited about these mixes. So I would love to know who has purchased these mixes. And then I'm going to show you. So I made 2.5 projects. I made 2 projects, and then I played around with another one that we may or may not get to today. But the first thing I did, I actually made a purse charm. And that was one of the things that one of the Mojo groups did as part of our presentation. So this big bird is not actually a part of the group. Sarah sent me a couple of extra little goodies. This is a lipstick ranch component, but she, like I said, she sent me a couple of extra things to play around with, and I couldn't resist, especially if we're talking about the theme of air. I couldn't resist using this bird as part of my focal. So we're going to talk about how to make this design and all the different components, and how I use a toggle actually as my connector here. And then when Sarah was doing her unboxing, she said something that really struck me and stuck with me, which was she had put together these recycled glass beads. And she said, you know, I think I would just put them all together in a line and do kind of a bar style necklace. And so I thought that is, yes, I like that idea a lot, but I put some of the spacers in between there, and then I attached it to cup chain. I used the little butterflies from the mix. And then she had also included for me some leather cord from Leather Cord USA. This, I think it's a 1/2 millimeter, 1 millimeter. Yeah, a 1/2 millimeter leather cord. And so I had a lot of fun with that. So I think what we're gonna do, since we're just cash, right? I'm doing a takeover. I'm playing with some beads. We're gonna come on down to the workspace and just kind of play around. Sarah did the whole unboxing of all of the beads, and this is what I have left after making my 2.5. This is my half project. What I did is I took the butterfly and I started a stretchy bracelet, but I don't know, it wasn't kind of speaking to me the way that I wanted it to. But now that I'm looking at it again with a fresh day and a fresh set of eyes, I'm kind of liking what's happening. So we might finish that off. We'll see how much time and how much interest we have. So from Jesse James Beads, is that Sarah that is joining us, or is that Danielle who is joining us from Jesse James Beads? Let me know who's here hanging out if I have any questions for you. Oh, and here's the leather. Oh my gosh, I spent probably 15 minutes looking for this leather before class, and I was like, I guess we're going to use something else to do the project, and it was literally right here the entire time. So that's great. Apparently it's going to be that kind of an afternoon. Hopefully not. But let me, because I found the leather, what I think that I want to do is recreate some of the things that I have done, but do it a little bit differently. One of the challenges that I have as a designer when I am sent one package is, okay, so I've made my design, but now I need to recreate it and teach it. So how are we going to do that? How am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to change it a little bit. I'm also going to try to get rid of the shadow, but it looks like the shadow is worse in my phone than it is actually for you guys on screen. So I'm not going to worry about that. It's just for me. Okay, perfect. So if you saw my Facebook Live about overcoming creative block last week, I made a very similar kind of project, but I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple things that I learned along the way to when I was doing that. And this is all right, Meredith, let's get our words out. I was just looking at Peggy's comment that said, how do we get the bird? I think that Danielle can probably help answer that question. It's a Lipstick Ranch component. So hopefully, Danielle, you'll be able to let Peggy know how she could order that cute little bird. I love him. So one of the things that I needed to do with the beads in the mix, these are actually paper beads that came in this mix. And again, this is the Earth Day mix that is in the element of air. And I needed to open up these holes. And at Beadalon, we talk a lot about using a bead reamer, whether it be the battery operated bead reamer for, oh, thank you, Danielle, for putting that link up there. Whether it be the battery operated bead reamer for pearls, or just this little fine bead reamer. But all I'm doing is very gently, really just filing the inside of this bead to open up the hole just a little bit more to be able to get the leather through. And since I'm using this super, super thin 0.5 millimeter leather cord, it should go through no problem. So I think we're going to go ahead and make a different tassel. And we're going to hang it off of a butterfly. We're going to keep with the same idea of design, but change out our materials a little bit. And I think that that's actually kind of a fun exercise. I think so. Hopefully you'll agree that it's a fun exercise, because oftentimes, I don't know about you all, but when I'm looking at a magazine or at a photo on Pinterest, or maybe a design in a boutique, I love the design, but I might not necessarily have the exact beads, the exact material, the exact whatever that that design calls for, or that design is made with, I should say. And so let's just kind of play around, right? We're gonna have fun together and play around with the idea of making something similar and yet also a little bit different. What do you guys think about doing the butterfly upside down? I'm very curious about that. I don't know how I feel about doing the butterfly upside down, but I don't think it's going to work the way I want my tassel to work. Well, I don't know. Let's find out. So it's going to be one of those let's find out kind of a design days. So I'm going to put these through on this side. Donna says no. Yeah, I think butterflies don't go upside down. It was an ill-conceived idea. So let's try 2 over here. I think I might be able to, I don't know. We'll see. The jury's gonna be out on this one. We're gonna come over here. So if you know me, you know that I very rarely do design on the fly videos. I think the last one I actually did was with Sarah James when we were back in the Beadle-On studio. Ooh, that could be kind of fun. All right, we're gonna try to tie that like that. I'm gonna do a little silk knot at the top, but I'm gonna do my silk knot. I think, what am I gonna do my silk knot with? I think I'm gonna do it with this, with the leather rather than actual silk. I think so. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And I had been using a straw to do my silk wrap now. Peggy says it's in her cart now. Oh, yay. So Sarah said I didn't need to go through and do like a show and tell of all of the different beads in the mix. But you can see that I did organize them all so that they were with their friends. Oops. My straw just went flying across the room. Who else does that immediately when they get their Jessie James bead mixes, just out of curiosity? That's literally the first thing I do is I put them all out on my bead mat, and then I put them like items together with their friends. It's the only, I can't design any other way. Otherwise, the beads do not speak to me. So I'm just doing a barrel knot right now. I'm sorry, I'm not doing a barrel knot. I'm doing a silk wrap, and I don't need my straw for this. Oh, Meredith, let's get our heads together. And so this is why I do my Facebook Live at 2 o'clock and not at 4, because I am at my freshest earlier in the afternoon. But that's okay, because we're hanging out. We're having fun. We're doing some designing. It is a takeover. I don't know if you saw on the Beadle-On Facebook Live this afternoon, but Wyatt had Kleshna on. She invented a number of different tools that we carry. And she is a British and just a delightful, delightful woman. And so I was able to not have to do 2 Facebook Lives today. But let's focus and concentrate, shall we, on what we are doing. And I lost my end, and everything is falling apart. Oh my goodness. What is going on, Meredith? Let's Let's figure it out and get it together. Apologies for my knot, but I've found recently that it's actually good. Oh my God, this is hysterical. It's good to show mistakes and to show how to solve those mistakes. And sometimes the solving of those mistakes is, where is my end? Here it is. The best thing to do to solve those mistakes is to start over. And sometimes the best thing to solve those mistakes is just to keep going and try to fix them on Facebook Live. So that's interesting, Donna. She says, for some reason, I see them all together. Nothing speaks to me. And that's okay. Sometimes designs speak to you, and sometimes you're like, this is not my bag. And sometimes you pull too hard on your leather, which is a good takeaway message. If you watched that Facebook Live with me with, I'm just going to get a contrasting color, so this is a little bit easier for me to do. If you watch that Facebook Live with me and Michelle from Leathercord USA, one of the things that she mentioned that I clearly did not listen to is not to pull too hard on your leather. Because let's think about it, leather is a natural fiber. And if you pull too hard on it, especially when it's so thick like this, it's going to break. And I'm so glad to have been able to demonstrate that for everybody today. All right, let's concentrate on what we're doing here. Okay. Will be much easier to show this with a contrasting color, because now I can see where my end is. Oh my goodness. All right, let's pull this up and pull this down, and now we have it. All right, so now I just need to zhuzh these in place a little bit more and snip these off. So I just grabbed some, this is the polyester cord from Beadle-On. It's not perhaps the first material that I would have used to do this. I like the cotton cord that I used over here a little bit more, but you know what? We're demonstrating, we're doing what we can with what we have. And sometimes that's the best thing that we can do, right? Do the best that we can with what we have. Danielle says she likes to put beads in organized piles and that the different textures and sheens speak to me. Yep, and that's what I did here with the beads. And sometimes I need to move my piles around, right? Maybe the piles aren't necessarily where they need to be. I also did things like I put the this little bead cap on the bottom here, and I just kind of let that guy sit there for a little while. It's a little hard to see down there, but this really cool bead cap, I really like the way that it nestled here on the bottom, but then maybe it wants to nestle on the top. I don't know. I just kind of let that, I'm still letting that design idea simmer a little bit. We're just gonna put him over here. Okay, so what I was talking about 10 minutes ago, before I had all of that trouble making my knot, is opening up the bead holes with a bead reamer. So that's what I needed to do, just to kind of clean out these holes with the paper beads. And when I'm using a regular bead reamer rather than the battery operated one, I don't necessarily need to hold it underwater, but when you are using the battery operated bead reamer, you definitely need to put that underwater. And we've got a lot of different videos and demonstrations on that. And so what I like to do for these bottoms here is I tie a double overhand knot. So not just through once, but through twice. And sometimes I need to grab my ends and just pull them out. So my friend Susan is watching right now, and I was thinking earlier about going to, I don't know if it was the first celebration of Earth Day in Philadelphia, but I have a very clear memory of, I couldn't have been more than like 14 or 15 years old, taking the trolley from my house to Fairmount Park in Philadelphia, where they did a big Earth Day celebration. Susan, were you with me? Did I meet up with you there? It's just like a weird couple of memories that I have, but it is unfathomable to me today that my parents allowed me to take the trolley to the subway. Yeah, different times, right? Different times. So I'm just tying a couple of overhand knots here. And let's see, it is much easier to do this with this nice thin 0.5 millimeter leather cord rather than the 1 millimeter cord that I used on my initial tassel here. So just something to think about, something to file away in the back of your head. I don't always make my beading job as easy as I could. And using thinner materials like this definitely helps. Although I tend to like the look of the thicker materials better. I don't know. What do people think when working with leather? Are you more of or any cord really? Do you like a thicker cord or a thinner cord? I feel like if I'm going thin, I may as well go to bead stringing wire and crimp it rather than knot it. But that's just me. I tend to use bead stringing wire whenever I can, especially the silver color bead stringing wire. That's my favorite. I know, right? My parents wouldn't let me drive into Center City, but I could take the trolley to 69th Street, which is like not super safe for a young lady. But you know, sometimes there is no rhyme nor reason to being a parent. I know that a little bit more now. But yeah, so my parents would also let me take they would make me, I would take the bus to Atlantic City or to Ocean City down the shore, but I couldn't drive. Like, really, the bus is safer than me driving? I don't think so. Not for a young girl. Never let my daughter take the bus to Atlantic City. So cute. Okay. And I love the way that the color ways for the four different elements turned out for these Jesse James beads mixes. It's so much fun to be able to play with materials from another company and pair them with bead-along wires and bead-along techniques and bead-along materials. Since we don't make beads or sell beads or have beads, it's nice to have all of these wonderful partners like Jesse James Beads who we can work with and partner with to make all of these fun designs. All right, what am I thinking? I think I'm going to keep with that nice, I don't know, I really like these paper beads. I'm going to use the last one here too. I used 2 of those paper beads over here, and I'm going to use 2 of the paper beads here too, just because they give just a little extra something. Donna's asking, are the beads much lighter than you might usually use? Because they are the air beads, the paper beads for sure. They are definitely very, very light. But I feel like unless you're working with like a metal bead or a hematite bead or a gemstone bead or like a big bead, the differences certainly add up the more beads you use, but when you just have a little tassel like this, it's negligible. All right, so we're going to come here, and who else is curious to see how I'm going to attach this butterfly to make a necklace? Me too. We shall see for sure. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do. All right, I've got one more here. I can't. It's so funny. I was very late to the tassel game, as many of you know, but now I can't get enough. I love tassels everywhere. Susan, how do you feel about tassels? I don't recall ever seeing you with a tassel. So tell me what your thoughts are on tassels. Oh, thanks, Danielle. I'm glad you like it. I know I loved these butterflies. Originally I was going to make something with a longa with the stretch cord, but then I was going to make them into earrings. But now I kind of love this tassel idea, although this could be an earring, right? I don't know. Okay, so now what I think I'm going to do actually is use some chain reaction, because I grabbed this glorious bag that I got from the JJB summer camp established 2020, and I have all of my chain reaction chain in it. So I did not pick out a chain beforehand, but I'm thinking I have the perfect one here. Kind of keeping in this airy theme. But my question is, do we want to do silver? I'm not good at mixing metals, friends, so you're going to have to help me. Help me be able to mix my metals. I also have a gold. Oh no. Silver or gold? What do we think? Should we try one and see what happens? I like the colors of the beads, right? Because we have this clear here and the white here. So we're still staying with our theme. I think we're going to have to go gold. That's my thought. Did anybody? Yeah, Susan says gold. Of course I knew you were going to say gold. I'm pretty indifferent to tassels. All right. Yep. We're going to go with the gold. I'm going to change that out later on. Okay, so let's see. What am I using here? I am using chain reaction item 6464. I know that sometimes Jesse James has things come in and things go out. So hopefully this is a chain, or at least something similar that they still have in stock, because the beads match perfectly. And I love, yeah, this is going to be good. Okay, perfect. So let's see. What do we have here? There's a split ring here. And I think just for the sake of time, I'm actually just going to snip that split ring, because I can't see myself needing to use that for anything else. And somehow my computer decided that we were going to Earth Week. Don't know why. So let me go back so I can see everybody's comments. There we are. Okay. Okay, yep. All right, Deborah says gold too. Okay, phew. All right, so now all I need to do is to even this up. And I think what I'm going to do is attach, let's see, should we attach it at the bead, or should we attach it at the chain? I love designing by committee. I don't know. I kind of think attaching at the chain. While we're thinking about that, let me grab some jump rings in gold. These are artistic wire jump rings. They're the chainmail jump rings from Beadalon, but any small gold jump ring I'm sure will do. And I'm going to pull this up. Oh, Deborah says bead. All right, Deborah, we'll do it at the bead. Why not? All right, and I need one more jump, or one more what are these things called? Chain nose pliers. And I'm going to add it at the bead, because that's what Deborah wanted to do. Uh-oh, Susan says at the chain. Man, Deborah was first. Sorry. Can always change it later on. We can always change it later on. I think this is a jump ring also, but again, in the interest of time, we're just going to snip it off. And I am using my memory wire shears for it, because memory wire shears are not just for memory wire. You can use them for all kinds of cutting. For all kinds of cutting. All right, so we're gonna open this up. Oh, these little butterflies are just so cute and pretty. And I love how there's always, I feel like there's always a surprise with any Jessie James mix. And I will admit, I was challenged initially with using the JJB mixes because of I think their strength is what I was challenged by, which is to say that all of the different kinds of beads, I was very much more used to getting, one strand of something and using that, or getting more like a pack that had all of the same beads. But I've really come to appreciate and love all of the different beads that you get when you get these mixes, because they always complement each other so well. But then you always get these nice surprises, bead caps and charms and components like this. So yes, our stuff really does play well together. And I still, Danielle, you're near me, so I think even when Sarah is, we don't even need to wait for Sarah to be in town. I think that we should just have a safely distanced meeting and hang out. All right, so now this is my chain. So now what do I want to do next? And I feel like I'm kind of taking that same idea that I did here with different elements, and I'm kind of combining unintentionally two different things into one thing. So super fun. Let's keep going with that idea. So on this one, I took, instead of using the chain reaction, I used some Preciosa. I can say Swarovski, no problem, but Preciosa is still a challenge for me. Preciosa chain, cup chain, and attached it, and then used these little butterflies. But I think I used all of my butterflies on my tops and on my bottoms. So let's see, how about, should we do it with, see, mixing metals. I need more. Maybe we can do it with these and these. That could be kind of fun. All right, and so I need to get some gold. Got some gold 22 gauge German style wire. We're just gonna do a little wire wrapping. So totally unintentionally, I'm taking, oh, it's both Sarah and Danielle, okay. Oops, no, Sarah, we'll wait for you to be here. I mean, we would never get together, Danielle and I, without you. I know you were just in town. You'll have to tell me when you are in town again. We will, next time you're in town, we'll be able to safely get together. All right, so I'm just cutting a little piece here and using my what are these things called? Anyone? Nylon jaw pliers to straighten it out. And let's just make some quick and dirty wrapped loops. Let's get some of this out of the way so that we can see. Sorry about that, guys. Got an incoming call. And around here on my wrap loop, I'm just going to bump that up just a skosh so I don't keep hitting it. Then I'm going to come in here and just attach the wire to the top of that chain reaction. And that's the thing also, and I know that when I love gushing about Jessie James beads. Sarah doesn't even pay me to say it. But what I really also love is, okay, so Sarah sent me this Aramex, which was awesome. And then a couple of extra fun components that I was able to play along with. But then I was also able to, when I needed a couple extra somethings for my design, I could go into my bag of Chain Reaction and into my box O Jesse James beads to complement what I was already working with, which is one of the reasons why I think it's always good to buy a mix when you see it, if you like it. Because that looks fun. I don't know, what do you guys think about that? Super fun. I tend to hoard my bead caps. I have this whole little jar of them and not use them as much as I probably should. But I really like how that looks. I gotta remember to use them more and not just keep them and say, well, it's good because I have a lot of bead caps. Gotta use those bead caps. All right. Clearly I cut this piece of wire way longer than I needed it to. And do that on one side. And then go ahead and do that on the other side as well. So fun. I love being challenged to create in ways that I would not necessarily do if I didn't have these particular components. I don't know how many people were able to catch the Facebook Live that I did about overcoming creative block. I think that was just last week. I have no concept of time anymore. Anybody else feel that way? But creating with predetermined supplies really helps me be able to think creatively and think about doing things in ways that I might not necessarily do them. And it's actually funny, Susan, I oftentimes, especially when working with colors that I might not necessarily be drawn to initially, oftentimes I will think, what would Susan do? How would Susan do this? Okay, so now what did I do? Oh, they're like almost, they remind me kind of like dragon feet, or of like I don't know, it's kind of like dragon feet. Super fun. All right, which one did I do? I used this one. Who has the chain with the beads? Peggy, that is Chain Reaction from Jesse James Beads. The Chain Reaction is really, really fun stuff. It's like, I don't know, I feel like I'm always reaching for it to finish something off. So what I have been doing a lot of recently is smaller or shorter focal components. And instead of making my whole necklace beaded, for example, I'll do half of it beaded and then half of it on chain. And that Chain Reaction is the perfect decorative chain to kind of fill in space, but yet still be pretty. Is that a good descriptor of that, Sarah and or Danielle? Okay. Just tucking in my ends. And then I think maybe, let's see, how long is this? I'm just going to put it, I have a little measuring tape right here. So this is, it's actually pretty good length. It's a little short, but I wanted to make it long dangle tassel, We gotta add some more material here on the back, right? So what should I add on the back? Should we do something beaded? Should we do something leather? How much of that leather do I have left? Now I've lost it for good. Now I have definitely, oh, here it is. I do not have this is all I have left. That's not going to help me very much. That is not going to be enough. Let's see. Is anybody given... Sylvia says I wake up and have to check to see what day of the week it is. Yes, I find myself doing that often during the day, as a matter of fact, not just in the morning, many times. Let's see, what could we do next? I really liked how I did my initial designs, and I do not want to cut them apart. So we're just going to kind of put him right there. Maybe he can inspire us a little bit. I don't know. Does anybody have any ideas? Maybe do I have another? Actually, you know what? I have a feeling I know what I want to do. I want to put some more chain reaction, because it'll be nice and fast. I'm just looking to see if I have another one. Can you hear me rustling through all of my chain reaction? If I have another one in those colors. I have a lot of really pretty colors. I think, ooh, this one's kind of cool. This one is definitely cool. All right, so this one is... And I think that the colors still work. It's a little bit darker, but still in an air. This is the Jessie James item 6455. So we can add that. It's a little bit different, but super fun. Oh, look at how cool those little things are. Again, it's like a surprise in every... Ooh. Deborah says seed beads. Deborah, you were right here with me today. And Sarah did send me these really pretty delicas, but I don't know if blue is really the right color to pull in here. So I'm going to put some more chain on. I really like that idea of doing seed beads. I will not, however, subject you to watching me bead up a whole bunch of seed beads, even on the bead spinner, because I do not have those things at the ready, although I'm looking around to see if I could do it. No, we're gonna add some more chain and call it a day, because what we can do is in adding that chain, we don't even have to add a clasp, and so then we will be done. So for this one, we're going to do it from the chain here, and all I need to do is add another one of those gold jump rings. If I can see where I put my jump rings down, right here. Silver lined gold. Oh, yes, Deborah, for sure. Would you do size 8s or size 11s? Thinking 11s, because then it would almost look like just wire, and that would be really, really pretty. And I do know that Jessie James Beads does carry the spinning beads, so you could do that up on some wildfire, you could do it up on some beading wire. That would be really fun. But we're going for instant gratification. We're going to just add a little bit more chain on here with a couple of jump rings. Just looking for the ends of my jump rings. Does anybody watching do any chainmail? I'm thinking of getting back into the chainmail, putting that on the list of the gazillion other kinds of designing that I need to be doing right now. But I do love the chainmail. That is definitely a fun thing. Yeah, so super fun. I'm going to try it on. Ooh, it's nice and long too. I find that I don't often make my tassels quite long enough, or my tassel necklaces quite long enough. But this one definitely definitely worked out really nicely. And Sarah, I don't know if you were on when I showed this one, but you had mentioned putting all of those recycled glass beads all in a row on like a bar necklace type. And so I was totally inspired by that idea. But instead of doing them just in a row, I also put the spacers here and then added one on either side. And then I actually just used 19 strand silver plated, but you could use any beading wire for this, and I just crimped it onto the rest. So just a bunch of different ideas for playing along or playing around with the Earth Day Air Mix from Jesse James Beads. So I'll post some photos of all of these, and Sarah, if you want to share them over on the Jesse James socials as well. But let me just kind of arrange everything nicely. And I'm really excited about planting my flower seeds. I'm super excited about doing, and having some wild flowers in my backyard. I think that will be really, really pretty and really, really fun. Yes, that cup chain, the Preciosa cup chain is, I really, really like that a lot. All right, so we're going to come back up to the front camera, and I'm going to see if I can't model just a little bit our tassel necklace that we made. And you can see the mess of the studio behind me because it is a full-blown designing frenzy here in the Beadle-On home studio. So we could do it shorter, but I like it long. Now I have a nice long necklace too that I can wear in a nice color palette. Although Susan, you do always tend to get my gold jewelry. So maybe we're having a play date on Sunday, so maybe this will make its way down to you as well. So guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Just a little Beadle-On takeover of the Jesse James Beads Facebook page. Finn has come over to wag his tail to all of you and say hello. He is very excited because my day has almost ended, and well, the work day has almost ended and the Finn part of the day has almost begun, and he knows that. So thank you so much, Sarah and Danielle, for having me on. It was super fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing tomorrow at 4 o'clock. There's another takeover. I believe, is it Randy is doing the takeover tomorrow at 4 o'clock? So I'm really excited to see what she has to show us using the Earth Day collections as well. So that's it for me today. Look for me at 2 o'clock on Thursdays on the Beadle-On Facebook Live, and popping up all the time with Sarah as we get ourselves into all kinds of fun beady trouble in the interim. So I wish everybody well, and until next time, you want to say bye-byes? You want to say bye-byes? Say bye-byes? Here, say bye-byes. Say bye-byes. All right, everybody. I'll see you soon. Happy beading.